Welcome to Different Gravy, Not Just Another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Richard Miller, my co-host. Inspired by the fact that David Storch and company dined at Los Mochis, a Mexican-Japanese fusion restaurant in London, is ready to launch his own ludicrous clash of cuisines. Oi Vietnam, mixing pho and banh mi of the Vietnamese culture with salt beef and pickles from a Jewish deli. Dr. Luke Gledall. How are you doing today, Luke?
Wait, mate. Doing well, mate. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah.
I've never called you mate before. That was
well, there
new.
we go.
I felt a bit like, do you remember David Mitchell's character in Peep Show where he's trying to identify? I can see all my mates from here. You know, just doing that. It's like, yeah, I feel a bit like this doesn't feel right. I'm sorry, Rich. How are you? I'm very good. Very good, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to keep expanding things. It's nice to keep things fresh in a relationship. So, you know, maybe mate's the next layer of things. Yeah, being a bit
we're going to sounds like we're going to a bit of marriage counselling.
Yeah.
Why don't you call each other mate for a bit? Spice things up.
Just try it. It doesn't cost you anything.
You cost us things. So the person. Yes. I'm very expensive. Yeah.
Oh, you never call me mate anymore. But yeah, so being a bit of a foodie, when I heard the David Storch interview on TalkSport, and he mentioned that basically it sounded like they tied one on at this restaurant. That was sort of the vibe. His early morning TalkSport interview. I was sort of like, oh, wonder what that restaurant is. Not heard of that restaurant. So it's the global pioneer of pairing Mexican and Japanese cuisines, showing off the vibrancy, passion, and heat of Mexico while celebrating the cool elegance and precision of Japan.
Man,
basically, they put a prawn in a taco and they're charging you 30 quid for it. You know, there you go.
A prawn's Japanese now. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, sushi.
What a bit of sushi.
They put some sashimi
taco.
in a taco, some rice in a taco, I guess is maybe the twist there, because you could have prawns in a taco anyway, couldn't you?
Put a ramen noodle in a taco.
Put a ramen noodle in a quesadilla. Put some wasabi in your pico de gallo. Bosh. Fusion. Luke, we've settled on this monthly format, and sometimes, you know, there are years that seem like days, and sometimes there are days that seem like years. And this is quite a month to look back on. There's been a lot of moving pieces.
What a month!
What a lot of month!
What a lot of month indeed.
So I've got my first little heading for this meticulously planned episode is signings, etc. So what I did was just grab all of the headlines from the Wednesday news page. I mean, not the ones about foundation results and stuff, but but kind of everything signing related. So I don't. Maybe it'll be a case of I'll run through and you can kind of sorry, go on.
Rich. Have we talked kits? I mean, as I'm, spotting a little Calgary Wild away jersey for the listeners.
Very nice.
Also, I was very big on Calgary Wild having a big owl themed as well. Obviously, I was like,
I like it.
What are you trying to take all my money?
Yeah, because you can.
Because you can. You can. Here's my bank account password, Calgary Wild. Go nuts. Go nuts.
No, we haven't. We haven't talked.
We
kits.
haven't talked kits. I've got kit thoughts.
Okay, please hit
Are we
me
getting
with them.
into it? So home kit. Okay, that is the logical start to this, right? Is the old home kit? I've got thoughts. How about you go first, Rich? No, I was about to do that. I know, I was like, that's kind of mean. It's good. It's good. It's classic. Can I just say, I feel like I'm in a minority here. Not a fan of collars and kits.
Okay.
It looks a bit too 19 something, early 1900s. It looks a bit
early 1900s.
It feels a bit Huddersfield for me. I don't know what it is.
Okay. See, I don't. Well, I'm sort of taking a detailed look as we talk. I don't mind. I always liked the collar. One of my favorite Wednesday kits was that kind of like mid 90s one, and that did have it had a white collar with a little yellow kind of end to it. You know, the kind of like the last little bit was kind of yellow or gold, I guess. And I did really like that kit. Partly because it was always a bit of a game. My primary school was a white polo shirt under a red jumper, and the trick was always to try and sneak your football shirt in so that at lunchtime you could whack the jumper off, and then you're wearing your kit. And they can't do anything then, you know. They can't stop you once you've got the kit on.
What are you going to do? Send me home? I've already been
What
here.
are you going to do? Yeah.
Oh, I've already put my time in.
So I had good memories of trying to sneak in with that white collar and just not quite, you know, kind of getting. I suppose my mum was kind of the first gatekeeper there. Is like, if I can get to school with it, then jobs are good on. Yeah. So I'm not absolutely opposed to a collar, but the blue collar, I don't think it adds very much. The blue collar that the current kit has.
So are you saying with the kind of retro, with the kind of 90s, was it like white with is white with the gold kind of trim to it, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It was also different material to this. Looks like shirt material making the collar, and it was different to shirt material. Showing off, just my technical know-how of garments here.
I feel like the collar is the tennis of this. Like, I don't want to see another piece. I don't want to watch it, but I don't mind playing it and having it myself. You know?
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, by and large, it's a lovely looking kit. It somehow looks better like in play than it does just kind of in repose. I don't know, which is what you want really. You want to look good when you're wearing it out on the pitch.
Though we do have the whole I can't read lettering.
Oh yeah, because
there's a lot of like back. I'm reading. I'm watching. I watched yesterday's game. First game of the season away at Leyton Orient, and I was just like, "Sorry, who's that again? Who's this?"
Which is always a commentator's kind of criticism of things, isn't it? But most fans seem to like having the stripes on the back. But yeah, I know practically, it does make life a bit more difficult.
It does look a bit shit if it's just like we're gonna put a white real estate background for the name and the numbers.
Yeah. I also have quite strong thoughts that if we have a panel, it should be blue, not white. I feel like previously when we had the plain panel, it's been white, and it just makes the kit. I don't know why. I feel like the overriding vibe of the kit should be blue, not white. And it feels like with the white panel, the overriding vibe of the kit is white to me.
Yeah. So home kit, I mean, we know it's going to be the blue and white stripes. It's just a question of how much we stick to that, how controversial it is, how much new and the same is kind of like mixed together. Whether
Yeah.
the placement of the middle stripe, is it right down the middle?
Yes.
Is it slightly askew? Does the edge of the stripe kind of be the half of the kit? All these finer details of home kits.
Yes.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty decent. Like, I think there's years I've personally preferred more. I like the Disco Tetris. Do you remember
Oh
that
yeah,
one?
yeah,
That was
yeah.
that was mint. I'm a big fan of that one. I like when we had the Children's Hospital. They were some good
Yeah, that was
kits.
nice. Yeah.
That was nice and had a bit of shoulder action, I seem to recall.
I think it's a nice kit. I think it's quite safe. I think it's fairly like...
It is.
It's probably like ticked as many of those kind of... The people who are like purists, it's probably ticked as many of those boxes as you can, really. But I think it will be interesting that they've talked about apparently next year's kits are already signed off. So I'm sort of intrigued to see how this partnership continues, because if Umbro are kind of in with us in this, it feels like a mutual partnership. It might be that we do get things a bit more interesting when they've got a bit more time. There was lots of talk about how short the period to get things ready.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, for that, you could spend more time and probably come out of a similar result for the home kit. So, if that's the logistics and that's the background of that, it's a good result.
Well, I think David Bruce oh, sorry, yeah.
Please do.
No, in his meeting with the supporters trust, he sort of said, like, we're doing things for this year's kit now, and actually in the normal run of things, they're behind for next season already, in terms of when they were able to start. So, so it's kind of remarkable how good everything looks, really. But but yeah. So, any other home shirt thoughts, or are you licking your lips at the idea of going onto the
licking my chops of going into away kit? So, saying that, I think the away kit's shit. Honestly,
oh, he doesn't
not
like
a fan. I don't. I mean, guess like so. I've written out a little bit of notes in my Google Keep. Plus, I love the media hype and the visuals of the whole ad campaign. That was good. That were a bit nice. Astounding and crisp level of professionalism we haven't seen in, well, ever. These guys coming in doing the media did a really good job.
It's the best bit of marketing since somebody got a frozen pizza from Asda for Decanio and carbonated. Hold on.
There have been advances in frozen pizza technology.
Yeah. What was pre-analog cheese, but it feels like it probably was analog cheese. Just get these two Italian chaps together and present them with an affront to their culture.
What was the yeah, those are the ones you buy in it was a big one, wasn't it? It was a big pizza.
It was big.
It wasn't like, no, but I think like it looked the same quality of the ones you get in a stack frozen.
Yes.
Like, like it's presented like a loaf, and then you take the little bread kind of keelet tie, take that off, and then take one out, and you put it in the microwave on a plate. It looked like that quality, but in a bigger one.
Yeah.
It did look like the early days of this was, if there was a documentary, like this is chat to chat to the head of product at Asda. And this is them trying to make the world of like, we've made a fresh pizza in store, it's really, it's pretty shit.
It's so floppy. Like, it's clearly quite difficult to keep it.
Yeah, because
any semblance of like.
And look, because the photo of DeCanio has got like a little frog, like a frog drooling over it or something. Like he wants to, can't wait to get this terrible pizza in his mouth. But it's like, like I said, it's falling over the, it's not.
It's very floppy.
It is a floppy pizza.
Yeah,
falling out over his fingers.
So we've come a long way, baby.
Come a long way, baby. I was just opening up a tab to talk about, the advances in frozen pizza technology. Well, there's ones that were like, what was the brand where it rises in the oven, and we're all like,
Chicago Town Pizza.
No, it's not Chicago Town. It's not Chicago Town.
Not Chicago Town.
No,
they do have one that but Chicago Town does do ones that rise.
Okay, but this has been. But I'm talking about when they came out. Remember, they had the advert, and it excites you, and like, like stimulate the senses, and like, we talk about them. They went out of business. I talk about my brother Chris quite a bit. This is a topic of conversation. Anyway, fuck. I'll tell you about it later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's not. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so we don't need to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. We've just careened down a blind alley instantaneously. There's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about none of those things. We're talking about a photo shoot from 20 years ago.
30 years ago, mate.
30, yeah, probably. Actually,
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
90s is 30 years ago, my friend. Anyway, so Away Kit. I like yellow in general, but the design just feels way too sparse. So it was funny because like they were doing the kind of like tease, and I was on like a Wednesday chat group, and one of the guys in there's like, oh, it's probably going to be like the one in the 90s, the away one with the yellow with the pinstripe purple. Yeah. I'm like, now here's an interesting thing. I was like, yeah, but that was Puma. This is Umbro.
Yeah.
What do you think is some of the copyright kind of elements of trying to do? Are there any?
I don't know. I'm presuming that you can make it different in like 1,000 other ways that mean it's okay. I was hoping for the black with the yellow pinstripe. That's what I was.
That would be amazing. Like, because that's the thing, because that's an Umbro kit. So surely if it's that, can you just? Because I mean, everything's kind of like going with that SWFC retro. So
yeah.
I feel the mentality. It's just bad. It's just I really hate this away kit. Yeah. It is so shite. Honestly.
I'm not as sort of passionately against it as you, but I was a little bit underwhelmed. I think.
I guess they do. It's kind of like a rough idea of that. It is a callback to it.
Yeah.
Because it is. Because it is white and the black, but they're just the thicker. I don't know why you don't just go for it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're doing that, just fully commit. Don't
do it.
Just do
another brand. There you go, stepping on the toes of another brand.
Or
at some point, did Nike own Umbro?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Just trying to distract us now, like willfully distracting ourselves. This is like podcast procrastination.
Yeah. It just looks unfinished, the away kit. It just seems a little too sparse.
It looks more like a template, doesn't it? I think whilst the home shirt feels like it's kind of very to-do list inspired, like tick those boxes. This feels a bit more kind of, we've got this, we could make it yellow. Yeah, no. My other little, fairly minor criticism is I'm a bit worried that the home goalkeeper's jersey is too close. I don't know why you would go so close to the colour of the home kit.
Interesting.
Like, surely a contrast is preferable there as much as possible.
Well, that was all right.
Well, it just looks like it's the same blue, especially on the back. I know it's not stripes, but don't you normally have like something that's very contrasting to the kit? Like, we've got a purple goalkeeper's jersey for the yellow away kit, but we've got a blue.
Yeah, no, I get your point. It is an interesting thing.
I mean, I doubt it'll cause any problems, but it just feels an odd. Even if you swapped them, it would make more sense. But there you go. Luke is being consumed by Leonard. For those who are not watching the podcast,
you could switch
right.
the because the away kit's kind of a similar purple.
It's the same look, aren't they? With different.
It's the same thing in purple. So you could just switch those. Well,
you could.
Well, they could just make a yellow version, like. Anyway, things they could have done on the kits.
Things they could have done. But we're holding off a little bit of judgment there because I think, like timing wise,
fair enough.
Maybe they made the best of a bad draw. So yeah, my first sort of broad heading is signings, etc. I'm thinking maybe you could, like, I don't know, put your hand up if you want to. I'll run through because some of them are like not really worth talking about on their own, and some of them are. So imagine you're on a Teams call or a Zoom call and put your little virtual hand up. A question from Luke. Luke,
Luke.
You're muted. You're muted. Right. So we've got Reece Johnson signs a new contract extension, goes and joins Eastleigh on loan. Then we sign the two keepers in one day. So we sign Connell Truman and we sign Ashley Maynard Brewer. And he's got his hand up.
I enjoy the element of talking about, like we've got to have like Simon Wilson come out with a bit of copy for each of these. And it just, when we're getting players who we know are purely signed just for backing up.
Just filler.
So I've tried a cut of maybe what the first version of this is. Our extensive scouting network looked for best qualities in a backup goalkeeper. For example, our scouts noticed Connell had a vast rear end, perfect for keeping the bench nice and warm.
Lovely stuff. Turned out Ashley didn't want that much money, so he went straight to the top of our list. He'll basically doss around the training pitch for almost nothing. So he was he met all of our criteria. He didn't mind letting in all of the shots from the strikers at the end of warm-ups, pre-match. So he ticked all the boxes. We signed Mason Burstow on loan. No hand.
Well, I don't know. Do you have? Mason Burstow seems a pretty decent loan signing. For the sake of things,
it does seem a good signing. I think he had
not a permanent acquisition, right? He's a loan signing just for Hull.
just alone. But he had a
From
decent
Premier League side Hull.
Yes.
Premier League side Hull City.
Temporary Premier League side. Occasional Premier League side Hull.
How?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I think he got like something like 8 goals or something like that this last season, but also quite hot on assists. And I do, I do think one of the things I've noticed from him in his brief appearances, quite a nice sort of quality of pass. Like he hits a nice strong pass. I can see how he's getting those assists. He really like drills it into people, and that means he can take on slightly more chancy passes than other folks seem to do. He seems all right at holding the ball up as well. So yeah, it seems like a decent acquisition. Hopefully he'll grab a couple of goals. Overall goals feels like one of those things that's going to be a bit tricky this season as it stands, but we're not treading on the toes of that yet. So I did put down Valerie staying and then question mark. And then now it's like, or maybe not. He turned up, he played the Accrington friendly, he played in the cup game. He didn't travel with the team yesterday.
Yeah. And questions about what is happening there. I think there was a bit of a mini furore over kind of coverage of that and some kind of journalist tweets. What I think I saw.
Yeah.
Without looking into it in any more greater detail.
I suppose the thing is when that happens, it's like, is everybody on side with that or is it not? And Pedersen was sort of like heaping praise onto him, but it did sound like probably maybe we'd had an offer, or maybe he was thinking what he did want to get out before the transfer window closes. So he's sort of saying like he's not the sort of person to down tools, but we found it down tools. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of it leaves us quite sparse in that right back flank, I think. And obviously if he does stay and play well, he's probably like top 5 right backs in the league, like without even knowing anything about anybody else in the league.
Yeah.
He's very good. He was a very good championship right back, so he'd be an exceptionally good. As we know, everything's at least 1.5 times when you come down to League One. It's he's basically Jesus.
Yeah, of course.
In right back form. So there we go. I mean, it's a bit of a, and then we had a big departure, bit of drama afterwards. Ike Ugbo, managed to secure a move away from Wednesday. Thoughts on his time, thoughts on the sort of stuff afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, you always feel like it was just going to be. Yeah, you just feel like it's going to present itself as a different opportunity than what happened. I don't blame us for clamoring for a signature, for doing all that work to get a permanent signing. It's just been an absolute disaster, though. Yeah. It's just been absolute night and day from the player we had on loan to the player who is permanently with us.
I think I do really kind of, I'm quite torn on the whole thing, because I don't think there was a lack of effort from him. It just felt all kind of unfortunate, and particularly, and also the timing of how bad things were at Wednesday didn't fit nicely with it. It was a kind of perfect storm of like, he's really on a down bit of form and the team is in terrible form, so it just kind of multiplied the situation. But I think once he missed that penalty, that felt like a sea change moment because it broke his heart to miss that penalty, and you could see like the other players were like worried about him mentally, and I just feel like from that point on, he was never quite the same. And then obviously we've had this kind of he's left, and Wickfield's kind of thrown him under a bus a bit, and then he's bit back, and it's all a bit kind of.
It was like Guideline, get out.
Yeah. I don't think that was needed from Wickfield. Really, I just think it's so unnecessary and not a classy move.
No.
But I also saw people going like, "Oh, so it couldn't have been his mental health because he was clearly a div," and you're like, "Well, you can be a div because of mental health issues. Like, it's not cut and dry. Oh, you're a knob or you're mentally ill. A lot of people are knobs because they're mentally ill. Like, it's not such a simple situation. It's not like, you know,
but you could just be a knob and have mental health issues." You know,
you can do both those things. Yeah, absolutely. You could be because of, or just anyway.
Yeah, it's
we all had that kid in school that you're like, nobody speaks to Nigel, and then you speak to Nigel, like, there's a reason nobody speaks to Nigel.
It's a real knobhead chicken or egg situation, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, but I think, but broadly, it feels good that he's gone. I don't think it doesn't feel like a good remnant of the previous season and regime that he's around. I think he's got another year after this loan finishes, so we'll have to think about what happens there.
And then I feel like the disappointing thing is, you know, it reminds me of. It wasn't even the same situation as Jordan Rhodes, right? But then the Jordan Rhodes there's a loan, and then we've agreed a permanent deal.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't really back out of that, right? That was kind of done. Whether we even wanted to, I don't know. Or agreed as part of it.
I think that was only a loan so that for paperwork purposes. I think it was a bit like when we signed Burton and Tudgay, it was a loan initially, but it was just a loan because I think the paperwork's just easier an emergency loan can go through pretty much instantaneously, whereas permanent signings take.
But then I remember during kind of, you know, sparse kind of sabbaticals, I think it wasn't last season, it was the season before, I went on a Norwich podcast.
Oh yeah.
I was, you know, they reached out and I was like, sure, I'll do that. Sure, I imagine the other boys have turned you down, so sure, I'll do that. And then just be like, they're like, where can we find your podcast? And I'm like, whenever we get around to it, there's ours. It was like, you know, didn't mention that anyway. But it was interesting them talk about Jordan Rhodes. So we took there was kind of like, you know, what are your best memories? What's this? How's the season going? How about players who've played for both clubs? So, you know, it was interesting to get perspective from them on that. But like, it was like, oh, and they're like, yeah, Jordan Rhodes was good because I guess we loaned Rhodes to them during a kind of promotion campaign.
We did, yeah.
But again, it just felt like we were all secretly just like, or not so secretly, crossing every single digit of the collective Wednesday fan base to be like, hopefully he does well, then hopefully you want to sign him and get him off our thing. And then it was like, no, we're good. We got to the Premier League, but no, we don't want Jordan Rhodes.
No,
and it was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So it's just, it feels again like we're all saying this. We're all like, maybe he puts himself in the shop window.
Yeah.
Maybe he does absolute wonders in the separate leagues and they want him. I don't feel it's going to happen. But that seems to have been the narrative of what he's done.
And I just don't feel his career, isn't it? On that
don't feel like, exactly. I don't feel like it's fatalist to the point of this is purely just what he does.
Yeah.
it's easy to look at his career narrative and say that's what he does. But it just feels a bit too simple to say.
What could the reasons be?
I don't fucking know, Reg. I don't know. It's baffling. It's just you get to the point of I'm resigned with Ugbo, but I'm also resigned with thinking about Ugbo.
Yeah. I totally understand. Okay, let's in the spirit of that comment, let's move.
I enjoyed somebody online calling him Tugboat. I will say.
Nice. That's good.
That was fun.
Yeah. I do just find it, I don't know, just you sort of like, I just find it baffling, like being good on loan and then not being good when you sign places. It just feels odd.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we had a couple of people signing on. So Jarvis Thornton signed a new contract. Joe Emery signed a new contract. Devlin Moses signed a new contract. And then in the middle of that, we signed Tyler Onyango.
Yes, we did.
And I think my description from the friendly game was he is tall.
You did say that, Rich.
And I think that's been borne out by his first team appearances thus far. He is tall. Charlie McNeil has departed to Crewe on loan for the season. Any McNeil thoughts?
I think it could still work for him at Wednesday at this tier. I don't quite understand why it hasn't worked for him, honestly. I think like he's like in a world where Jams Low has had a perfectly adequate average time for Sheffield Wednesday, and obviously he got himself opened up his League One account yesterday. Different players, different expectations, but I think in a certain similar way, I feel like their average would be okay. It wouldn't be a disappointment. So I found it really weird. McNeil's time, honestly.
I was struck by, they said in his blurb leaving, 50 appearances, 6 goals. Like, that's not bad for a guy that's mainly played on the wing. That is not a bad hit rate.
Sub and kind of hereby little bits and bobs. I mean, you say 50 appearances, but how many minutes is that? Honestly,
not that many, but still, even like 1 goal in 10 for a guy that is getting dropped in here and there and playing wing back for most of last season. For goodness sake, that's not a bad hit. Clearly, he's a decent goal scorer. I think he doesn't have the physicality to play that role on his own, which makes him quite a niche proposition because not many teams.
It's really funny. My brain was just going, just before you said that, was just lightweight. Yeah.
So I think that's why he gets pushed out wide, but he doesn't really have that's not where his skills and ability. He's a bit of a fox in the box, but not many teams are able to operate somebody that's just going to be useful in the box and kind of can be a passenger for pretty much the rest of the game. Man City are cope, but he's also massive. They're fox in the box. I don't know. It's a bit tricky because it just feels like he's going to have, without something big changing, he's going to continue to have the sort of career he's had thus far, which is kind of, he'll bump around kind of League 2, League 1.
Yeah. I feel maybe it's more natural kind of thinking of like a kind of very 4-4-2 mentality, which I think still kind of plagues and besets stuff that's like injected in a very English football fan mindset.
Yeah.
But it's a whole kind of like tall man, shorty man. You feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there
yeah.
should be a kingdom for a foxy boxy player.
It's also where, to an extent, this is really a stretch, but I remember when we first signed him, I was sort of saying, watching his Newport highlights, he does have little touches of Kieran Lee, and I think maybe you see that most in the box. That period where Kieran Lee just became like the steeliest finisher, um, uh, suddenly getting like the odd goal in like 5-6 goal thrillers. Um, but I think the problem is he doesn't have the graft that makes that work. So that could be a position for him. If he put the effort in, he could be a kind of in the hole type player who you've got your front man and he kind of goes beyond him and finishes off chances, or he arrives late in the box and finishes off chances. Because clearly he's got some ability at putting the ball in the back of the net, which is the hardest thing to do in football. The problem is he just doesn't have the stuff to make that. That's a great skill. It's a unique skill, but everything else is like so poor. He's kind of like elite level at this, non-league at everything else. But I don't think that's a given. It feels. I was sort of hoping he might be one of these guys. He's young enough that over the summer he could have just turned up and have put on quite a bit of mass, and suddenly he's got a bit more about him. But it hasn't happened yet. Crew previously, you would have said that's a great club for bringing players through and bringing players on. I don't know whether that's still the case in the post-Grady world. But hopefully it's a bit of a reckoning for him, and he kind of, maybe this is a moment to kind of pull his socks up and get a lot of games. I hope he plays a lot. I hope he gets those hard yards in, but maybe kind of attitude-wise kind of takes on some of those hard lessons, because it's just not happened here in a way that you hoped it would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's frustrating because it would only take a little bit to suddenly be like, you've got to have him because he's so good at that. He's so good at goal scoring.
Yeah, and I still feel like there's, I feel a bit like, we probably need. Do we want to talk about like how many more players we think are coming in at this stage?
I think that's sort of naturally the next thing is kind of how the squad's looking at this point.
So I guess like McNeil in relation to that, like I feel like he is he's a bit of a Paul Heffernan. He's a bit of a kind of a fifth striker who I feel like there is still a need for. Like there is still some use. There's still some juice we can get out of him. I don't know. The forward outlook is a little minimal. Kind of looking at that kind of squad.
The big thing is, where do the goals come from, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, and I think we're getting there. But like in terms of, I think Lowe is probably going to be relatively all right. I think he could probably get like 10 goals. I don't think he's a 15-goal guy.
Yeah.
Maybe previously he was. I don't know if the grades, the League One buffing that comes in. I don't quite know what to expect from Harry Gray, honestly. I mean, forward against his title. Who else we got? Barry? Louis Barry?
So I thought that when he came on, it was like night and day. We suddenly made a lot more sense going forward when Louis Barry was playing. Does leave us quite dependent on him, and he is someone that's missed chunks of seasons previously. So I wonder if we've kind of swapped Windass for Barry in a way, although there's like a year removed in between. But that we were so much of the attacking play made sense with Windass on the pitch, and also scores goals himself. And it just felt a little bit like that when we made that change.
That was Bannon's comparison, wasn't it? That he was making in preseason interviews.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't just copying Baz.
That's quite funny. Yeah.
But he's previous 2 seasons, he's got a good amount, or previous 2 seasons in this league, he's got a good amount of goals at this level. So you'd hope if Lowe can manage 10, he might manage 10 as well, which probably leaves us with another sort of 20 or so to find elsewhere.
Yeah, I think there's still like one more
Slattery's
number.
anus is one of our key.
Yeah, his big old
weapons,
arse.
apparently.
Yeah. Interestingly, not mentioned by Simon Wilson in the signing.
No. He has one of the most dangerous anuses in all 4 divisions. His chocolate ring is the marvel of many clubs at a higher level. But I think up front we definitely need we need another striker, and I guess we're just kind of seeing where the dust settles in terms of loans and things like that.
It feels like we're very dependent and running into that element. So, I mean, like, there was a narrative of being like, for this kind of pre-season, yeah, I'm going to bring up the transfer market.
Okay, go for it.
Bring up the transfer market. In terms of like acquisitions, it was like, was it said like, oh, we need like 20 players or something stupid? So, I don't know. Are we even like counting some of these potential? I mean, like, Otigbayo is, looking like a first team option, especially in 3rd tier.
Yeah.
But, he's definitely a professional player who's been around the club for a while, he's very much graduated. And I would say he is a player. But there's a number of players that we've just, like, they have played and they've looked okay in, like, small spells, but then they're just injured after that, which is worrying.
It really feels like we've got 3... Like, we've got lots of centre-backs, but 3 of them are massive gambles.
Yeah.
And that's not particularly comfortable.
When you say you define those gambles, who are they? Because I think
it's Bernard making a comeback from a very, very serious injury and a whole year out of his career as well. There's just like, in terms of kind of like ring rust, man alive, it could take him a season to get back to anywhere near what he was if he was ever going to get there. Santos, presumably we've done a kind of Che Dunkley and signed a guy that was injured from the off because he's not played any serious part in pre-season. He didn't play a minute of any of those games. He's not been on a bench. So who knows what's going on there. And as you touched on when we signed him, a guy that failed a medical.
Yeah. And you're going to warm up those big arse muscles to get goals like Chiboy Callum.
Yeah.
How many arse goals do you think we're good for this year, Rich?
I reckon maybe not. What you've got to take into account is the goal involvements for the arse. It's not always going to be straight goals. You'll get a lot of assists. Sorry, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. But yeah, you'll get that deflection, and then it'll be Jamal Lowe tapping it in or something like that. That's so. Lowe takes the spoils, but actually, the spoiler was doing the work. But and then I think the third gamble is Liam Cooper, who is like 407 years old, and and we broke him pretty easily last year, and who knows how. I presume people don't tend to get less easy to break as they get older. So
I guess
yeah. Go on.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because basically it's like, did Palmer play right back yesterday?
Yes.
And Lowe started?
Yeah, Lowe was left back.
Lowe was left back, right. So I guess there's been conversation around, I think there was a dubious source that kind of said that, because my oldest brother Andy messaged me and was like, Reece James is back. I'm like, I go to SWFC, I go to a few other sources, I'm like, there's nothing official about that. Are you sure that's the case? Mm-hmm. So apparently that was a dubious Twitter account that was coming out with.
Well, he played the friendly, and he's supposedly is still training with the club. So
right.
It might be that we're keeping him warm whilst we search out other options, and if worse comes to worse, we'll sign Reece James, and if not,
yeah. So there was conversation about that being like, would you be happy him coming back? I was having on this Wednesday kind of discussion, kind of chat, and somebody said something interesting, which was like, "Oh, forgive me for cycling other people's thoughts here." He was deemed not good enough previously. I was like, well, no, we got promoted to the Championship, right? Because that was the last League One promotion season. And I think it felt a bit of a difficult kind of call as to whether we are doing... I think it would have been okay in the Championship. I think it was like a difficult thing of, are we being too sentimental about a player and his abilities to kind of step up to the next tier?
I think if Moore had been the manager, Reece James would have been our left back. I just think, for whatever reason, Roll didn't really fancy him. He didn't play that many minutes under Danny Roll. He was very good in League One and got better as that season wore on. I mean, lest we forget, he got an absolutely gorgeous goal in the the famous night against Peterborough. He also had a couple of really nice assists. I'd have no qualms with bringing him in, particularly if the job is to be understudy to Lowe.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. But I guess the interesting
thing... That would feel like we're doing... Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah. No, I guess that's why a weird thing that we seem to be like flush with defensive options. But yet, it feels like there's some odd holes. I mean, if we're looking at this kind of mentality right now, if he's still a Sheffield Wednesday player for the season, Valerie is first choice right back, if he's fit.
Yeah.
Lowe is first choice left back.
Yeah.
Still a question of what that defensive pairing could grow to be, should people be fit and people be there. But I think the problem right now, we have so many injuries that, like, I was asking the question, I thought Swinkles was kind of signed as a left back. I mean, he can do both.
He can do both, yeah.
But I feel like he's more in that conversation to centre back because we have so many...
Hard up.
We're very hard up, yeah. And then again, I feel like probably Onyango's probably listed as a midfielder, but he's probably more of a defender. He is a utility man.
He can play right back and centre back, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
But again, he's playing
for the
because...
sake of being pinched, Palmer again.
Yeah.
Can we play Palmer again at centre back? Could we play Fusier at right back? There's a lot of stuff we're kind of gambling on, but like it feels like there's a lot of those. So, yeah, if Valerie goes, we need another right back.
Yeah.
And right now we probably need another left back.
Yeah. Just to add to another kind of opposing thought into the mix as well. I think I prefer Lowe as a left-sided centre back. I prefer him there than being left back, but needs must.
But he's definitely more than good. I get your point.
He's good. He's more than good enough. It's just
left back.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit though like. Remember, you'd see like the strength of positions, and Palmer would be like the third or second option in like 5 positions. There is only one Liam Palmer. Like there's, he can't fill all those spaces, and it does feel a little bit like we've got these guys and we've got some utility guys, so we'll be fine. And you're like, well, no, because if Palmer plays right back, then he can't play centre back or left back or midfield. He can only do one. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. It just, as I say, that it might be we get a couple of months into the season, and the fact that we've taken such a gamble on the defensive players pays off. But it just feels like immediately we've been caught out by rolling the dice, and we've come up snake eyes, basically, the early doors. Yeah, need another right back, need another left back. Midfield, that holding midfield position looks thin, I think. You see Mitchell being out means that...
Yeah.
And you sign a guy that's basically been injured for his whole career, and turns out he gets injured in Onyango. Hopefully it's a minor thing. I don't know. Just the abiding feeling from yesterday is that we're still in that position where when other teams make subs that are either like for like swaps or people who are just as good in a different way, almost every swap is making us weaker than we were before. Which is...
So, is this... Have we finished talking transfers?
I think so.
Okay. One of the things you mentioned was a certain interview with our chairman.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of things, haven't we? Because there was the mention on the website of 100 days of Arise. Obviously, we're like 115 or something now. It's kind of moved on. We had the Athletic article talking about rebuilding Wednesday, which had a lot of good stuff in it. And then we had David Storch's interview on TalkSport. Obviously the juiciest nugget there, and probably, maybe we should have our dessert first, and do the Vardy chat straight away. It sounds like, this is my reading of it, we are actively trying to find a way to put something in front of Vardy that works for him. Is that your read of it as well?
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously something that's Storch has made a cheeky reference to on the Twitters or the X's previously.
It
Yeah.
feels, presumably behind the scenes, we're trying to pull another rabbit out of a hat, like we did with the points deduction. Like we're trying to come up with some clever way to. If obviously the restrictions being the restrictions won't move, but can we do? As we maybe joked a little bit about, can we like cut him in on the merch? Does he get like X% of every Vardy shirt sold or something like that? And therefore it's not his wages, it's a merchandising deal or something like that. I'm presuming that's the sort of thing they're working through. Maybe if there's a documentary being worked on, he gets the rights to put it in his Netflix documentary rather than it be. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what we're just exploring, all the different avenues to get enough money together for him that it's, which you'd hope they've received kind of encouraging noises from Vardy's side to make that worth doing. Is that too far of a stretch?
I don't think it is. Yeah, I think that there's definitely some degree of, there's some degree of thought process here to think about this, right?
Yeah. Which is exciting.
What a thing that came out my mouth that sounds like it means nothing. Yeah, I feel like Storch is measured enough to be very careful about things.
Yeah. Which is why it was interesting he didn't just say Jamie Vardy's a good player. Like it was substantially more than I've been bullied into talking about something,
Yeah, there's no Jamie Vardy's a good player, but there are lots of good players who are on our radar.
Yes, exactly. That's what it wasn't. It was much more detailed than that. Because that's the kind of stock answer is, maybe we're looking at lots of options, or something like that is how you bat that away without saying no.
Exciting.
As I say, it does feel like outside of the very real restrictions. I also wonder how much. Sorry, I'll finish one thought before I start the next. So it feels like outside of the restrictions, there are so many things that, like, as I said, like half my brain's like ridiculous. No, the other half of my brain is like, well, there's so many nice bits to it. Surely you could just, it will find a way to work. If both sides kind of want it and there's lots of pluses, then it feels like eventually they'll find a way. But I do think a factor in this is that the EFL do not want it to look like we've got away scot-free. And I think signing Vardy does fly in the face of that. Mm-hmm. We know because we've been intimately involved in it, but we know that's not the case, that we've got away with something. But there is an element of the footballing world and not just in South Yorkshire, there's an element of the footballing world that sort of feels like we've kind of pulled a scam of some sort. So doing that and then signing Jamie Vardy is kind of really bad optics for the EFL. So they are not going to want to budge an inch, which is why I think this is tricky.
I just want to get a little bit of imagination, just a little kind of tease. We do the media signings. We've got the chair there. Next to the chair, Rich, it's a bottle of WKD.
And a can of Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
It would be, it would answer the question in terms of who leads the line for us. That would be just on a pure, take all the commercial, we couldn't hope for anything better really up top for us. That would be amazing. but then there's just all the other elements just feel so. I don't know. So juicy nugget that I took away from the Athletic article. They were talking about, they're trying to downplay the idea of promotion this season, but they're talking about next season being competing at the top end of things, which I think is sensible. I think a bit of managing expectations is going to be quite important in the current climate. But then they also did talk about Premier League in 7 to 8 years. Thoughts?
Which isn't like, if you think about it and you think about the resources we should be putting in and goals, that feels very conservative in a way. So I guess the immediate need is, how do we get out of League One?
Yeah.
How do we, probably in terms of, ownership, stature, people's thoughts, we are at least a second tier outfit. It feels a bit of a mismatch that Sheffield Wednesday are here, but due to situations and running, this is where we find ourselves. This feels like our basement, and I hope I'm not saying that to kind of put any markers on if things go really, really terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But we have edged very close to things being terribly, terribly wrong.
Absolutely.
And there is potential for us to fuck it up even more. So we have never been, I believe in Sheffield Wednesday's history, we have never been a fourth tier side, right?
No.
Sheffield
closest we came, I think, was under Chris Turner. Is that right?
Probably that was the case. Yeah.
I think that's the closest.
And I don't see that being anywhere in our kind of future. But then, like if you think about that mentality, we don't want to spend more than 2 seasons in the third tier of English football.
No.
That would be my kind of mentality, is like, we start changing the culture. It's not an overnight thing. What Arise are doing in 100 days, I know there's a lot of conversations on forums being like, some fans are still a little upset about the nature of where some things are, but it is a lot of work to do in a short space of time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Rob Staten article that was on the BBC. Like, so he wrote something for kind of big BBC Sport talking about the nature of things and talking about going into, just going in and doing, working and doing the press at the club, and like you go in and everything's kind of diverted while things are going underground. They're doing a lot of work as part of Hursty's, right?
Yes.
So apparently that just looks like it's just like a building site right now for all the stuff, and the stuff they want to do. So,
but by Thursday it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, honestly. But in the true nature of what I feel like buildings and how buildings seems to work from construction, from my viewpoint, is you are an outsider. I've never been in construction, Rich. I don't think you are. I don't think that's any of our focuses, like in our workplace or passions. But you walk past a place and it's like, it looks like it's the same for 3 months, and then you come back and then suddenly it's done. Yeah. So I'm sure it's a similar deal. I'm sure there's things they're working on which are imperceptible to our eyes on the outset, right? So, just kind of getting back on track with what we're talking about here. 2 seasons out of League One seems reasonable. And then, so if it's 7 to 8 years, what's that's like? At least, at the most, 5 seasons in the Championship.
Yeah.
That seems pretty conservative. I would probably think like 2 League One, 3 Championship, season 6.
Yeah.
Premier League.
Well, again, I think it's heartening that it's not it's not what it's not is Europe in 5 years. It's like
yes, yeah, no,
it's
exactly.
a thoughtful number, and it feels like it might be part of an actual plan rather than plucked from thin air. So yeah, no, it's exciting. I think there's lots of. I'm really intrigued to see. I'm planning to be at Hillsborough on Thursday. We've gone for season tickets again. We've kind of bought in. So that's exciting. But I mean, one of the things. It's just a minor little phrase, but one of the things Storch said on Talksport was making it easier for people to get in and out of the ground. And you're like, that's the sort of thinking we've just lacked. There's just been no strategic, like, everything's just been at best haphazard, if not ignored altogether for so long. I mean, shown by when he made his big announcement on the pitch, we're going to have warm water and Wi-Fi. And you're like, that shouldn't be a big announcement, but it is. It is for Sheffield Wednesday because we've been allowed to fall so far. But yeah, it's exciting to think that they're not just doing the kind of easy wins. They're doing the easy win stuff as well, but they're not just doing the easy wins. They're doing some of the deeper work as well. I think he said there was 100 work orders out, over 100 work orders on Hillsborough. So that's things getting touched up and fixed and things like that. So that's fantastic to see. One thing we're praising Arise and they're coming. They're sort of the moves they've taken so far. Just to kind of add a little bit of critique in there. I've got to say, we've gone down the digital route, which we were very much encouraged to do by the club. But those blank season tickets, that's pretty naff.
Yeah. Do you have yours with you?
Oh no, we didn't go for so it's on the phone. So it's so we didn't get the physical version. There was an extra 15 quid, so we just didn't go for it. But charging people an extra 15 quid and then not even having a picture on it is a bit mean.
Yeah, I was saying to Andy, it looks like the card I used to get into my workplace.
Yes, yeah, very perfunctory. And nothing, literally nothing more. No warmth, no nothing.
It was the viewpoint being that if you do that, then it's basically like, with this conversation, I just going to ask some questions because I had like a loose
go
focus
for it.
on this. Is the view that you spend the money on the season ticket card, and as long as you have a season ticket, then it can be activated for many seasons to come?
I suppose in a world where there's forward thinking and forward planning, potentially. That's never been the case previously. You get a different card each season. That's what it's normally been. To the point where, and this is, I think, one of the reasons that for it being blank, to the point where people kind of collect, obviously, their previous tickets. They kind of store them up. I think that's one of the things is just making it plain so there is no collectible factor to it, supposedly. Basically it's a move to discourage people from getting the card. They want to just be completely away from the cards and just be on your phone. Whether they had to be quite so draconian about it, I don't know. So the next thing is I've got on my little list is the friendlies versus the first two games, and then season predictions as a kind of broad category. I'll hold. Well, I'm holding my hand up, but I also I still feel like there's a world in which it might not have been too much of an overreaction. But I did go to both the friendly games back to back. It seems less relevant now. We've got the season proper started. But I did go to Accrington Stanley, and I did go to drove between Accrington Stanley and then to the Oldham game, and came away. The Accrington Stanley game was just fine. It was kids. They'd put in a decent showing. I thought Burstow looked bright, and Gray looked bright. It was nice to see Valerie back. Then going to the Oldham game with much more of what was supposed to be our first team, and just seeing us get absolutely dismantled. It was a pretty disheartening experience, a pretty awful kind of drive back, and it left me pretty pessimistic about how the season was going to turn out. Hopefully I'm in the midst of being shown to have been reactionary and proved wrong, because the first 2 games of the season have obviously had successful outcomes. But broadly, I do think there's a couple of things that I do still worry about. We've talked about the shape of the squad, and I do think a consistent source of goals is a little bit of a worry. Distinct lack of pace. Maybe Barry's a bit of an answer to this, but a distinct lack of pace to get us up the pitch is an abiding worry. And I know he's earned his stripes, but Otigbayo, it feels like we've lost one kind of player that's guaranteed a hiccup every game in Iorfa, and replace them with another one. Like Otigbayo just has this little careless streak to him, which seems to prevail. Physically, I think he's up to the task. It just seems to be that each game, and he did have a couple of them at the weekend even, each game there's a just a moment where he kind of forgets to do the things you're supposed to do. And that the fact that it looks like he might be first choice for the foreseeable future is a bit of a worry to me. But yeah, so what are you thinking about the season as a whole? Do you have any kind of broad predictions as to where we might finish?
Oh, I do. We can do positions. Do you want to just do positions now?
Can do, yeah.
11th.
That would be good. I think that would be a good, 11, top half.
Top half of the division.
I think that would mark a good season based on all the upheaval and where we've got to, and it gives us a good point to build on from next year. I think that's part of the shame of, and shows how slightly wrong-headed I think the kind of EFL ongoing measures are, is that I think we've got good owners who would want to build from the future here. I don't think they'd want to kind of splurge this summer and just get us over the line in a kind of Chancery style. But the situation has kind of made us be very short-termist. I think we're looking at this squad, and whilst we've put some good things in place, so Swinkles I think is a great, potentially a really good acquisition, exactly the sort of move you'd want to make in our position. Barry I think is a similar sort of line to that. Even Slattery I think is of an age where Slattery and Mitchell, they're kind of mid-20s. There's still potentially some upshot to them, even if, so they might move on for more money in the future and things like that. So a lot of those strategic things I think have been robbed. We've been robbed of those by these ongoing strict rules on things, and it means that we're going to end up with about half of our squad being probably old freebies and young loanees who disappear next season, which is a bit of a pain if you're taking a long-term view and wanting to build for the future. I think we would have probably seen 3 or 4 more players in their early 20s signed for small fees with sell-ons, etc. So that's a bit frustrating in terms of building for the next season and potential promotion. But it's heartening to see that the majority of the moves. As I say, these rules, I know they're supposed to punish clubs, but it's sort of like, even if they had a thing where they could, like, it was a rolling, they had to okay things so that you didn't overspend or didn't overdo things or didn't make silly moves. That would be a better position than a blanket. Oh no, you can only spend this tiny amount on transfer fees and loan fees. I don't know. It's as I say, we've got this shadow of the EFL trying to sort of manage a situation, which we know that they're crap at managing anything. But yeah, I think 11th, 10th, maybe that would be a good season for us.
What is the positional number that screams to you right now, Rich?
I think that does inherently feel possible. I think we've got a squad that's capable of that, particularly if some of the kind of injured players come back fairly soon and play the majority of games. I do share people's worries about Pedersen. I think he's got to. I agree. I think it's fair that he's been given a chance, but I think he starts with a fairly low amount of kind of credibility in the bank in terms of having the position long term. That I think he needs to earn that and earn it quite quickly. But obviously, with winning the first two games is the basis of earning that respect and earning that credit in the bank. But there's just a couple of some of that aimlessness. I think we still see that from that was frustrating last season. I know there was also, you can't judge anybody on last season at all. I mean, I was even willing to give Ugbo another kind of clean slate to try things, because I just think there was just so much going on off the field that it just wasn't fair on anybody. But just not getting smashed every week isn't much to build on this season. And there was a lot of aimlessness, particularly before Adaramola came in and gave us that clear route to get up the pitch. We don't have Adaramola. At one point it looked like we might. Now it looks less likely. So we can look a bit aimless in terms of our attacking options, and we can lean on long balls to not particularly tall players quite a lot. And I think we saw a fair amount of that against Bolton. We saw a lot of that in the first half on yesterday. So I think there's room to go. I think I think a top 10 finish is possible. Whether Pedersen's the man in charge when that happens, I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I mean, keen to think about the positives and keen to think about the places we can grow. Yeah. You know, it's all uphill. It might have some divots going down, but it's still positive, and that was an interesting thing to think about from yesterday's game, which is that maybe within the fabric of our chat. Is it time to talk about that?
We can do that now if you'd like.
Seems like, I know there's a lot to talk about. It's going to be a big old long episode.
Yeah.
Can I just say, so yesterday I hopped on a stream. I found it was covered through. I really should sign up for iFollow. I think I was a little rattled. I think there was a year being like, we're not going to tell you what the price is.
Oh, yeah.
And then and then we'll come out with it, but then you've only got like a week to lock it in at those prices. And that kind of left a very bad taste in my mouth. And I would, and then obviously that kind of dovetailed with some of the latter shite of the Chansiri rain.
Yeah.
So thought about, can I go back to this? I'm not doing financially great right now, I'll be honest. So hoping the end of this year that'll work itself out. I'll be able to kind of work myself into a good position, but it just feels like life is very expensive.
Oh,
right
absolutely.
now. So anyway, one of the things was me watching the game yesterday was Bet365. You can do a little tickle, so I've got a little financial little buffer, so I can do a little small bet, and they'll give me the access to the stream. I don't get comms, which is a little annoying, but I wonder if the mentality there as well of giving you a pared down product for what you're doing is also, we don't really want to kind of give any kind of bias as part of the betting process. I'm wondering if that's the case.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So anyway, I hopped on. Did you notice, because I think Rich, you downloaded you watched the game after the effects. It was coming through from Sky Plus. Now, I hopped on about the 4th minute mark, and then did Sky do a little naughty thing of saying that Leyton Orient had scored in the early minutes of the game? Did you get that on your feed? Because I had that on my feed, and so did my brother Andy. Oh, brother Andy was watching on Sky Plus, and he said, I've missed the goal, and I've been watching it. So for the first 15 minutes of the game, they had that Leyton Orient has scored.
Right.
And the fact I was getting gaslit by thinking Leyton Orient has scored is really something. And just felt like a real kind of making the tone of me watching this game of football remotely.
Yeah.
A very more kind of sobering kind of bump dropping on our head in League One.
Right.
That I've genuinely thought for the longest time, like, there's no way I can go back within this feed and see that at the time, but looks like we've conceded in the very early minutes of the game.
Okay, that's really strange. No, I don't remember being under the impression that they had scored early doors.
You know that from this game, Rich. It was interesting. We had the cup game against Bolton Wanderers. Bolton Wanderers, who, historically a bigger club than the third tier would probably allow. Where they kind of sit is probably a little bit kind of Wednesday-esque as well.
Yeah.
Interesting, we got to play Bolton Wanderers in the Carling Cup. Not the Carling Cup, the Carabao.
Yes.
Carabao Cup. And
the Milk Cup.
The Milk Cup, exactly. And as the process of looking at their lineup, I'm looking at the Wednesday lineup, and can I say, like, this looks like an outfit. This looks like a lineup that Bolton Wanderers would put out from a kind of distance. So I've made a note that, like, I don't know if this is a compliment based off where we've been. Like, there's a degree of, like, kind of like, it is a third tier. We are a third tier team. We are putting out a third tier outfit. But I guess the interesting thing of, like, looking at this, one of my big notes, I said, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that when you see highlights of some anonymous lower tier game of football that you half-heartedly cast your eyes on and think, that looks like a bad game of football, you shouldn't be surprised to think and see that your football team is part of one of those. Like, first half was just, I think the only word I could put was mediocre. It was not a great game of football. And even though I thought, like, hey, this could be a little bit kind of measuring of expectations and stuff to kind of come back into, the first half was a little disappointing, I must say.
Yeah.
In terms of what it was. And I mean, in terms of that, looking at that lens of, like, this looks like a bad game of football that I'm casting my eyes on, Callum Slattery scoring with his arse just feels impeccably fitting, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. So I just had a quick look there to try and see where Orient are, because I think that's the thing with dropping into a new division, and like Leighton Orient, they've been up in the Championship. They've been as low as probably, I think, non-league. So it's kind of like, are they a team that's looking to get promoted? Are they a team that's clinging on?
Yeah.
So in terms of, I think last year they just about survived. They finished 20th, so they just about clung on. But the commentary seemed to sort of intimate that they were looking a bit higher this time round. So I don't know how much stock to put in that. I mean, there's that beauty of first game of the season where everybody's kind of got high expectations and high hopes. So, when everybody kicks before the first ball's been kicked, hopes they're going to do quite a lot better than last year. But I think scrappy is fair. They were scrappy. I think they're a bit dirty. But I thought, yeah, I mean, I think Pedersen has talked about this swarm effect. When we're going to try and push high on the pitch, high up the pitch, and push on players in possession. So nice to see that getting the rewards. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate reward of the goalkeeper careening it off somebody's backside and it going in. I mean, it's a scrappy goal, but it's also born of hard work and getting to a situation where the goalkeeper's sort of trapped in a situation where he doesn't feel comfortable on the ball. And I think we did that a couple of times, actually. Their goalkeeper had a couple of near misses after that fact as well. So I think that was really heartening to see, really good to see. I have some thoughts about their goal. I don't know if that's going too far ahead, or if you're happy to move on. We weren't ahead for long.
I'm happy to move on. I guess it was just thinking of the mentality of this game of football. Like it's not going to have future on the fabric of. Not every game's going to be like the team we're away against or even at home against dictating the pace of play.
Yeah.
But it felt very much like that in the first half. And it was kind of hard to see. I felt we were really muddling through it with what we were doing.
Yeah. I'm probably not helped by the combination of factors, which was Onyango getting injured sort of almost instantaneously. I think it was almost his first touch of the ball. So
what position was he playing? Was he part of the midfield? He was
sort of trying to play holding midfield, I think. He was sitting behind, sitting in front of the defence, but behind Bannon and Slattery. But yeah, it felt like maybe he touched the ball 2 or 3 times before he went off injured, and he'd lost possession in getting injured as well. So wasn't a wonderful introduction to things. I also, I was pretty underwhelmed by Leongola in the friendly game, and I remain very underwhelmed by him. I don't.
Interesting, because I mean, he had huge plaudits in the cup game against Bolton.
Yeah, so I've only seen the highlights of that, so I must have to hold my hands up.
Yeah,
but he looked like a competition winner at times in that first half. He really didn't look good at all. I think he lost the ball 2 or 3 times, and I was not surprised to see him go off. I mean, it's tricky because presumably somewhere in the hierarchy of Wednesday they're pretty high on him because he's almost like an answer to all questions on that right-hand side. He's going to be a right back, and he's going to be a wing back, and he's going to be a winger when needed. He's going to do all the things, and I don't know. To me, he just doesn't. Hopefully, he'll turn it. It's early doors. I don't want to. I want to think positively and hopefully, but to me, what I've seen so far, I'm very worried. He just doesn't look good enough from what I've seen so far. I'll allow time for settling in. I'll by no means get on his back or anything like that, but the early signs are not wonderful. And I thought Barry coming on that second half, we looked like a different team entirely. There was a purpose to things. We suddenly were able to go quite a lot further up the pitch, and that meant when we won the ball, we were closer and able to look dangerous and look like we might hurt them. That wasn't all Barry. I think the team in general kind of played a little bit better after the second half, but just in terms of having somebody to look to and a threat in behind pace wise, Barry really seemed to make a big difference in that regard. But yeah, their goal, I know we've got this rule about people going off. I believe he did nothing. The ref did nothing wrong in terms of he followed the letter of the law. But one, I don't know how you can lead with your elbow and give somebody a bloody nose and it not be a foul. That's the start point of this. But then that means Swinkles has to go off. And then while he's off the pitch, you do an uncontested drop ball that they are able to just loft straight into the box. I thought they were going to just kick it back to the goalie or kick it behind the goal. Like you've smashed somebody in the face and got away with it. But let's all be fair, play the game, what do I want to say? Fair play, etc. And just, gamesmanship or sportsmanship rather than gamesmanship. Yeah. I was surprised to see the ball go into the box. I was then dismayed that we just completely were switched off. Like, there's Otibayo's one of them, Palmer's another, that just were not doing anything. They just were not paying attention. Which you should be anyway, It's kind of the first rule is just keep your guards up and keep your wits about you. So I've just felt like their goal was a bit skeezy and a bit fortunate in that regard. I think there were other ways that they were unlucky because they obviously later on hit the post with a very decent effort. So maybe it kind of all works itself out. I didn't make loads of notes, but so the business picked up massively when Barry came on. We had that. Did Gray miss before or after we scored the penalty? Can you remember?
It was after because it was opportunities to make it 3-1. So him and obviously we'll talk about Bannon's miss as well.
Yes, yeah. I thought the penalty a touch soft, but I do think it was a foul, and I think the contact that happened was kind of for the defender the worst time, and also for the attacker the worst time. It wasn't a huge amount of contact, but it was enough. It was when Lowe was sort of at a certain point in turning around, and so it kind of had an outsized impact, even though it wasn't a huge amount of tugging on the shirt that he did. It was a very kind of isolated tug on the shirt, and it also happened as he was pivoting. So it kind of, I think he was legitimately hoiked over in the process of legitimately trying to score the goal, in which case it's a penalty. I was really nervous when Barry Bannon stood up to take the penalty. I was even more nervous when Lowe took the ball off him to take the penalty. Yep. But it was a very good penalty. It gave the keeper the eyes, as they say. He didn't. I have an increasing pet peeve about the stuttering run-ups, but he didn't do that. He didn't mess around. He just he sort of did the tippy-tappy steps, but it was all one motion. He wasn't like it's cheating. It's cheating. We should stop it. We need to stop it. Uh, it's already so massively in favor of the person taking the goal, taking the penalty. Without you faking out the keeper 6 times on your run up.
Yeah.
If they're not allowed off their line, one or the other, let the goalie come off the line. So whilst you're doing your stutter run up, they're allowed to run towards the ball, or stop the stutter run up and just hit the ball normally. You plonkers. But he finished it. It was good finish. Yeah, we had that nice moment. I think it was a Barry ball that he put across, and Slattery kind of almost took it off the toes of Gray and then pulled back, and then Gray hit a fairly decent shot and it was a good save, but could easily have been 3-1 at that point. And then Bannon,
not great.
I mean, we're lucky we can laugh about it, because otherwise that would have been...
It felt like, typically, I feel like if we were playing at a higher level, we would have been punished for missing an opportunity, but it worked out. Yeah, like it seems like an interesting thing that like we can still have, when things work and we have the dominance of a little bit extra quality in this division because of who we are and greater resources.
Yeah.
We can edge games like this. When even looking back at it, it was like, wow, okay, Leyton Orient looked like they could have got more from this game. They could have taken all 3 points. Honestly.
Yeah, quite possibly.
A couple of good opportunities, and then some, and probably a lot more dominance in the first half, I will say.
I thought they were the better team first half, and we were the better team second half.
I completely agree.
Towards the end, I was feeling like it would only be us messing up that would present them with the goal, because I think we did shut things down pretty effectively. I did lose my rag slightly, even though I was watching it after the fact, which was a bit weird, but I was trying to watch it as live. I didn't know the result. Palmer, as our captain and senior pro, I think gave the ball away 4 times in from 90 minutes onwards, and 3 of those were under no pressure whatsoever. He just passed it to the opposition. It was literally like he was trying to give them a chance to score. I was absolutely fuming. Again, we got away with it, but come on, Liam. Come on. You're better than that. But yeah, my sort of final notes on the game were like, big win on a tough day. I think dealing with the expectations, I think Thursday will be the same, in that the weight of expectations will be sort of considerable, regardless of everything else going on. And I thought Leyton Orient had some decent players. I thought they looked all right. They've got some loanees. They benefit from being a London club, so they've obviously picked up some loanees from teams like Spurs and things like that I'm sure they benefit from being kind of that local team.
Rich, did I ever tell you one of the times in League One going away to, my mate Daz is back in Sheffield now, but he used to live down in London.
Okay.
So we had a period during that time before I went to, emigrated to Canada, as part of that promotion season and maybe part of the middling season beforehand, there were 2 occasions went down to watch Wednesday away at Leyton Orient. So the last one of those was Raider Johnson scoring in the 1-0 victory. So that was fun. The first time wasn't quite as fun, because I think that might have been Irvin or very early Megson.
Okay.
And we lost 4-0. And I reminisce about this. I think I might have left about the 3-0 mark, and I think we were leaving when the 4th goal came in. Now, I was not particularly paying great attention to that game. I'm going to look this up in the kind of background just while my microphone is picking up my tippy-tappy on here. one of those goals was the first professional league goal scored by Mr. Harry Kane.
Oh, there you go.
So there we go.
Because they're
He's
kind of
first.
tricky. They're tricky centre forward with the kind of long hair and ponytail. He was a Spurs loanee. So
And that was the second goal.
was,
So technically, I did see.
there you go.
Errol Kane.
Bit of history. Donald Trump's golfing buddy, Harry Kane.
Oh, how far have we come in life, or how backwards have we gone in life? Just, we didn't think that this would be our futures, did we, when we were younger? It's difficult.
But yeah, obviously a creditable win. Lovely to start off with on such a positive result. I'm really intrigued as to how Thursday will go. I obviously, like everybody else, annoyed that it's a Thursday. Screw you, Sky. But I think one of the abiding things coming away was just this is a very thin squad. Like, we don't have options in many options in a lot of positions. Do we know anything about Fuzita? Because it seems like he's kind of been pushed aside a little bit. Like, last season he was absolute mainstay at right back. But he just seems to have fallen back in the pecking order, and I'm not quite sure what's happened there, whether he's injured or I don't know. Anyway, there we go. So the other thing that we thought we might do as an ongoing feature is
just ask you explicitly, Rich, just for the record books. You didn't commit. You didn't give me a position number of where you think Wednesday.
Oh, okay. You want it down. I'm going to go I'm going to go 10th. I'm going to go one higher. I think we'll finish 10th.
You fucking priced it right at me, you bastard, didn't you?
I hope I have. Don't want to go too high. But it's.
I want to deviate and ask you about something else completely different. But
go on then.
I'll save off that. Shall I do it now? Recently been getting into Right Thoughts, Right Words, Right Action, the album by Franz Ferdinand. Evil Eye. The opening line. What's the color of the next car? Red. It's red, you bastard.
Yes.
I feel like that makes sense, but I don't know why. Can you explain it to me?
Let me have a little look at Evil Eye lyrics.
If you don't know off the top of your head, it's just going to add more time to this already long podcast. But I don't know. Maybe a little.
Oh, it's on. It is on.
Genius.
It's on Genius,
but no one's given any. No one's given any stuff on it.
There is the superstition that red cars give bad luck. This probably comes forward from the fact that red cars are way more involved in crashes. Furthermore, there is a myth that red cars attract more speeding tickets because the colour would attract the. In this song, the singer thinks that seeing a red car will probably bring bad luck.
Right.
And then I guess the next line makes sense because he's saying, "Don't believe in God, but I believe in this." So,
right.
So, like, I don't believe in God, but I do believe that red cars are unlucky. One of the great philosophers of our age, Alex Kapranos. That album came out right at the. Sorry, go on.
Please do.
No, that album came out right at the height of my. I mean, I do still have a lot of fondness for Franz Ferdinand, but I was like foaming at the mouth for that album coming out, and I saw them in Houston, Texas, which was fun.
Ooh.
On that tour.
Very nice.
I get about. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. So yeah, one thing we thought might be a nice feature, given that we've switched to this monthly format, is looking at the fixtures in the month ahead and trying to make a prediction on how many points we expect from that run of games. I suppose we can be as detailed or as we could just give a number, or you could go through fixture by fixture what you think might happen. I'll leave it with you, kind of dealer's choice.
I'm all right to go through every game. So we're not going to cover. We're not.
Are you
going
to keep records?
We're not going to keep the cups. I can do that. Yeah, I can log it afterwards. I'm not going to do it now because that's just going to take way too much time.
We can talk about what we think will happen against Wolves in the cup as well.
All right, and then we've also got an EFL trophy game away at Salford. It's not in
the fixture list on the website.
Oh, it's on to BBC. I got it onto BBC.
Have I inadvertently picked competitions all? Maybe I need to switch to BBC then.
I don't know. I like it, even though I don't know why I like it, but I do. Anyway, so we are recording this. We will get this out. Even with me being a bit busy and saying I'll do the video editing. By the way, I'm not doing that in Premiere again. It took 14 fucking hours to process.
Oh dear.
I mean, kind of limited by having what I have in terms of equipment, but then,
yeah,
I'm not a professional videographer. So anyway, we'll get this out before the first home game, home against Bradford, on a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
Well, it's not even a Wednesday, is it?
Sky. Well, the ludicrous thing, Luke, is that is a weekend fixture, not a midweek fixture. It's a Thursday that should be a Saturday rather than... It
goes in the round of that. It's not even Friday, is it?
No.
This is the part of the podcast where I provide expert analysis and say a Thursday night game, it's not a Wednesday night game. It's not a Friday night game. It's not a Tuesday night game. It's also not a Monday night game. It's not a Saturday game. It's not even a Sunday game.
I mean, it's pretty amazing to get this level of insight from anyone really, but one of the esteemed day tellers of the Northern Hemisphere. He can look at any day and tell you what day it is. He's a brilliant guy. Right. I'm going to formalize this, Luke. I'm going to do a very rough little Excel and say game.
Do it later, mate. Don't worry.
Luke.
You can share
Rich,
it. We can put it in.
And then we should have subheadings, I think. Prediction.
Subheadings.
Points.
Oh, all right. We'll do that. Yeah. So, I could call it a win and then get the win wrong, but I still get points for the victory.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole decision to make. Really, we should have had a meeting off pod. There's so much to this.
Anyway, let's do it haphazardly by the seat of our Callum Slattery's.
Seat of us, Callum Slattery's. Right.
Okay. So I guess the next date we're looking to do this, Rich, we're going to include all of September basically as part of this.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to do this on Sunday the 20th of September because I'm going to be celebrating my birthday weekend, which is not the 20th of September, it's the 17th. I share a birthday with Petter Rudy. I have you know.
Oh.
And you would see that against my Owls Talk account if I could ever get back into Owls Talk.
Are you locked out of Owls Talk?
I'm locked out of OT, mate. Yeah. So the problem is I've got my username. I know what my username is, but then every time I log in, it's like, well, what's your email? And I say, forgot my password. And then it doesn't come through. So
have you?
I can't.
I feel like I had something like that, and I ended up using an old email, and it kind of worked, but I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, we are doing. I reckon this is 7 league games. I've been scribbling them down on the side here. And then we've also got the EFL Trophy game away at Salford and what we know right now of League One Cup. So there might be a League Cup game if we manage to progress against Wolves.
Oh, okay. Are we in
wouldn't be able to cover.
Games getting postponed territory for the Cups yet or not?
I don't think so. Not yet, though. The season is still young now. Anyway, home against Bradford. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory. Do we want to guess score? Do we want to guess scorers?
Oh, you're getting complicated now. Could do first scorer. That's kind of like a.
Okay, I'm going to go. I think Low keeps it going.
Okay.
Apple bottom jeans.
You've screwed up everything now, though, Luke. So,
do you want me to go through all of mine and then you do yours, or do we do? We could do a little snaky.
Oh, we could do that. That would be fun.
That'd be fun. Okay. So, Rich.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get this into some shape here.
You could talk about
all of this could have been done off the pod, I guess. But
of course.
There we go. Right. So now I've got a chunk for you, a chunk for me. That is prediction, result, first scorer, and then I guess we'll go back and assign points for correct guesses within there. So you've gone 2-0, which is Wednesday win, and you're going first scorer.
Jam's low.
Jamal low.
The jam is low.
Ooh.
But I'm holding
so
on.
Are you doing? Oh, are we going back and forth then? Is that what we decided?
Yeah. So then you do Bradford and Wolves, and then I'll do.
Okay, I'll do Bradford.
I'll come with my Wolves, and I'll do Bromley. Wilfred Bromley.
I think probably I'm gonna go 2-1 to Wednesday. And then I think probably Barry will get the first goal. Wolves.
Louis Barry rather than
Louis Barry. Did you notice the lovely touch in the changing room where they are? Barry is next to Bannon, so it's Barry Bannon.
That's lovely. Beautiful.
Wolves just feels like our classic cup draw in that they will be probably comfortably good enough to beat us, but not exciting for anyone. Nobody will want to go see it. No, the TV won't be interested, and we'll probably lose, I would say, 2-0 to Wolves. So
this doesn't go to
first scorer for us.
This doesn't go to replay, does it?
No, it's penalties. I don't think there's even extra time. I think it's penalties.
I think it'll be a dour 0-0 that Wolves will take home on penalties. I'm going to go 4-3 on penalties. It's Wolves. And then, moving on, we finally have a 3:00 Saturday home game.
Huzzah! And it couldn't be a more tantalizing opposition.
I think, yeah. It's funny because I feel like I'm just going to kind of undercut and say the season is going to be like a little bit disappointing or like, measuring the thing, but I'm just like, it's another Wednesday win, isn't it? I think it's a 1-0.
It'd be
And
disappointing, but we win every game.
exactly, yeah. Why didn't we win it? There are more goals.
Who's your scorer?
It's Bannon.
Baz.
Bannon.
Nice. Well, I think in the interest of, I think there'll be a bit Lord Mayor's show, and I think it might be a draw, might be 1-1.
Okay.
Uh,
Who's bagging for the Owls, Reg?
it's a great question that you ask.
You wouldn't expect anything else from the esteemed dayteller of the Northern Hemispheres.
Who is going to score? Maybe a goal for Gray. Mix it up a bit.
I like it. That's good. And then, Rich, we're away at Wycombe Wanderers on the 1st of September. It's a midweek game.
So I'm doing Wycombe. Away
yes,
at Wycombe.
sir.
Classic Stoke on a Tuesday night-esque fixture. Is it still the rock and roll manager? Is he clung on? Ainsworth, is he still there?
Could be.
In his leather jacket. Bother boy boots. Showing how much my knowledge of the other teams in League One has progressed in the intervening years. I think maybe we'll sneak a little win there. Maybe it'll be a 1-0 win for Wednesday there. And maybe it'll be low. Who scores?
I think we will probably learn some lessons in the part of this process. I think it might be one of the games we come a little bit unstuck. I think I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for Wycombe. No scorer for the Owls. And then,
I mean, that there is a joy to like predicting that Wednesday don't score because it means you don't. Well, that's a big point of differentiation there, though. Like, if you get that one right, you could be way ahead. If I get that one right, could be way ahead early doors. It's these ones where we're gone for quite markedly different results.
Then
so
we're going to have
next.
Yeah, it's a midday kickoff, right? It's probably live on Sky, I guess. Way at the Posh. I am thinking for this one, I'm thinking it's the first away kind of point of the season in my book. I think this is a 1-1. I think I'm going Barry for the Louis Barry for the scorer for this one.
Nice. So 1-0 to win to Wednesday. I think I'm going to go the opposite. I think we'll lose to Peterborough. We'll have too many nightmares of the 4-0 loss, and Bannon will score 6 own goals. No, I think maybe a 2-1 loss, with a Bannon goal. I like how we're just like we've gone for different scorers for each of our goals.
And Rich, I think you're going to talk about how
Wigan. Yes, I am
Wigan at home.
Sorry. I was just battling with Excel. It was so determined to make that 1-1 a date. Even though I told it to make it text 3 times, it kept making it a bloody date. So I've been slightly distracted, but I feel like I have now won. I've vanquished my foe in Excel. Wigan at home. Oh, well, I feel like we'll beat Wigan at home. We'll vanquish that particular foe. What will the score be? Maybe like maybe a 3, maybe a bit of a barnstormer, a bit of a 3-2. That's what I'm going for. 3-2.
Okay. First scorer.
First scorer. Maybe Burstow gets his first. He's in the fold. It's got to be a different score each time.
Of course. Yeah,
Those are the rules.
I thought it was funny because in my head I had 3-1. I think for some reason, even though Wigan are a pretty decent outfit in this league, right? And talked about a team in kind of contention for the bothering top end of the table. I'm going to go Swinkles. I think Swinkles will get us from a set piece on that one.
Nice.
And then here's an interesting thing. I think we're home against Stockport. I think this will be one we slip up on. And I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory for Stockport. And also, for the first scorer, Rich, I'm going to say it's somebody we don't have in the squad yet.
Ooh.
Spicy. Almost as spicy as a Mexican-Japanese fusion.
Obviously, this will hopefully be... There won't be many months where new signing will be a potential, but I'm okay with it being just any new signing. You don't have to say it's a new striker or it's a new. And are you okay with that in reverse?
Of course.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Yeah. What do I think against Stockport? I think maybe another draw. 2-2. I'm predicting lots of goals. Actually, I'm going to go back on myself. It's 0-0. It's a 0-0 draw.
0-0 written all over it.
Got 0-0 written all over it. Salford in the cup. I mean, goodness knows what sort of strength of team we're going to put out in that competition. Positive side of things, we don't have that many players, so what does the weakest squad look like? Probably still fairly okay. Negative side of things, we don't have that many players, so it might be a really weak team. Salford, I think Salford will win. I think maybe a 2-0 win to Salford.
I'm thinking it would be 1-1.
Dial it in on that competition.
So no scorer for you.
Yeah. 1-1.
I think 1-1, Otic Bayou to score.
Oh.
And then finally away at Stevenage. I think it's a 2-0 loss for Wednesday, so I think Stevenage become the victor of that by 2-0. 2-0
loss. And then that means you don't need to predict a scorer, which is handy. Right, Stevenage. I think we'll sneak a win. I think we'll get a 1-0 win there. I think Jamal Lowe will score again. Predicting a good month for Jams. And that's us. Yeah.
I'm going to bail and go for it.
Luke was celebrating. There, he's already won in his head.
I am. Do you want? Yeah, I can edit this, or we can.
We can just. Well, do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I think we're about there, right?
I think so. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I think we've passed the 2-hour mark, so folks have got more than their money's worth. So yeah, I think not much more to say. It's a positive start. We're feeling hopeful. I think they're mostly quite positive predictions we've made, so we'll check back in at the end in the next episode, see how we've done. And I'll just say cheerio, folks. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. And we'll speak to you at the end of September. Cheerio.
Everybody, have a good one.